The courtroom doors opened at 1:45 p.m., and 39-year-old Alexandria Pierce walked in with the confidence of someone who'd never been told no. Her cream-colored Max Mara coat, $3,500, draped perfectly over a designer dress. Her natural hair was styled in elegant locks, adorned with gold cuffs, and her Cartier jewelry gleamed under the courtroom lights. She carried a Louis Vuitton tote, worth at least $3,000, and checked her phone, iPhone 15 Pro Max in a custom leather case, as she walked. Before we dive into what happened in that courtroom, if you believe in justice and want to support a new channel dedicated to sharing these powerful stories, please hit that subscribe button and like this video. Every subscription helps us bring more of Judge Caprio's wisdom to light. The bailiff called the case, The People vs. Alexandria, Nicole Pierce, case number 20-24, TRF 1-789. Charges: excessive speed, driving in the oncoming lane, reckless endangerment, and threatening a police officer. Total fines: $3,400. Alexandria barely looked up from her phone. Her attorney, an expensive-looking man named Marcus Webb, stepped forward. Your Honor, Mrs. Pierce is the wife of attorney James Pierce, senior partner at Pierce & Associates. Perhaps we could handle this matter quickly and privately? Judge Frank Caprio looked up from his paperwork, his 37 years of experience immediately recognizing a power play. Mrs. Pierce, please approach the bench and put your phone away. Alexandria sighed, took her time finishing her text, then walked forward slowly. Your Honor, I really don't have much time today. My husband is handling a major case, and I need to coordinate several things for him. Can we expedite this? Mrs. Pierce, I'm looking at Officer Martinez's report from October 18th at 2:30 p.m. It says you were driving 72 miles per hour in a 45-mile-per-hour zone on Route 6. You crossed into oncoming traffic to pass two vehicles, and when Officer Martinez stopped you, you threatened him. Is this accurate? Alexandria waved her hand dismissively. Officer Martinez was overzealous. I was passing slow drivers. It was completely safe. And I didn't threaten him. I simply informed him of who my husband is, and suggested he think carefully before writing that ticket. Let me understand something. You crossed into oncoming traffic? The road was clear. I'm an excellent driver. I've been driving for 20 years without a serious accident. I knew what I was doing. Judge Caprio leaned back. And what did you say to Officer Martinez? I told him my husband is James Pierce. Everyone in Providence legal circles knows that name. I suggested the officer might want to verify who he was dealing with before making a mistake that could affect his career. You consider writing a valid traffic citation a mistake? I consider it poor judgment, when there are clearly more important things for police to focus on than someone going a little fast on an empty highway. What happened next would shock the courtroom. Judge Caprio picked up a remote. Mrs. Pierce, Officer Martinez was wearing a body camera. I'd like to play that footage for the court. Alexandria's confidence flickered. That's really not necessary. I'm willing to pay the fine. Play the video. The monitor showed dashcam footage, time-stamped October 18th, 2:28 p.m. A silver Mercedes E-Class, $75,000, was weaving aggressively through traffic on Route 6. The car crossed the double yellow line, moving into oncoming traffic to pass two vehicles. An oncoming pickup truck had to swerve onto the shoulder to avoid a head-on collision. The body camera footage showed Officer Martinez approaching the Mercedes. Ma'am, license and registration. I clocked you at 72 in a 45, and you just made an extremely dangerous pass into oncoming traffic. Alexandria's voice came through clearly, dripping with condescension. Do you know who my husband is? No, ma'am. License and registration, please. My husband is James Pierce, senior partner at Pierce & Associates, the largest law firm in Providence. They handle cases for the mayor's office, the police union, half the businesses in this city. Ma'am, that doesn't change the violations I witnessed. Actually, it changes everything. My husband knows the police chief personally. They play golf together. So before you write that ticket, I suggest you call your supervisor and verify who you're dealing with. This could be a career-defining moment for you, and not in a good way. Officer Martinez remained calm. Ma'am, I'm not calling my supervisor. I'm citing you for reckless driving and excessive speed. Alexandria's voice turned cold. You're making a serious mistake. When my husband hears about this, there will be consequences. He'll have you directing traffic in the worst neighborhood in the city. Is that really what you want? Ma'am, threatening a police officer is a separate violation. I'm not threatening you. I'm educating you about reality. People like my husband and me, we run this city. You should show appropriate respect. The video ended. The courtroom was silent. Alexandria stood rigid, her jaw clenched. Her attorney was frantically whispering to her, but she ignored him. Judge Caprio set down the remote. Mrs. Pierce, you threatened Officer Martinez's career because he was doing his job. I stated facts. My husband is influential. That's not a threat. It's reality. You told him there would be consequences and that he'd be punished for citing you. That's a threat. Alexandria's eyes flashed. Your Honor, perhaps we could discuss this in chambers. I think a private conversation might be more productive than this public spectacle. A private conversation? Yes. Sometimes these matters can be resolved more efficiently without an audience. My husband handles sensitive legal matters for many city officials. I'm sure we could reach an understanding that benefits everyone. Judge Caprio's expression hardened. Mrs. Pierce, are you suggesting that we handle this case privately because of your husband's connections? I'm suggesting that practical considerations should be part of any judicial decision. My husband's firm does important work for this city. Surely that context matters. Let me be very clear. I don't take private meetings to reach understandings about traffic violations, and your husband's professional connections have no bearing on these proceedings. Alexandria stepped forward, her voice rising. Your Honor, I think you're misunderstanding the situation. My husband knows the Attorney General. He has cases before the state Supreme Court. One conversation between him and the right people, and what, Mrs. Pierce? My rulings will be reversed? I'll face consequences? Is that another threat? It's a reality check. You're a municipal court judge. My husband operates at a much higher level. He has relationships that span the entire state legal system. So maybe you should consider whether this is really a fight worth having. If Judge Caprio's compassion moves you, like it moves millions of others, show your support by subscribing to our channel. We're just starting out, and your subscription means everything. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Her attorney looked horrified, trying to pull her back, but Alexandria shook him off. Judge Caprio stood up from his bench. Mrs. Pierce, in my 37 years on this bench, I've seen many people try to use influence, connections, and power to avoid accountability. You're not the first, and you won't be the last. But let me make something very clear. This courtroom doesn't work that way. Your Honor, I'm simply being realistic. You drove 72 miles per hour in a residential area. You crossed into oncoming traffic and nearly caused a head-on collision. You threatened a police officer. And now you're attempting to pressure this court by invoking your husband's connections. None of that is realistic. It's entitled and dangerous. Alexandria's face flushed with anger. My husband will hear about this. He'll file complaints with the Judicial Conduct Board. He'll do whatever he believes is appropriate. But right now, I'm addressing you and your actions. This is ridiculous. I have a spotless driving record. This is one incident being blown completely out of proportion. Judge Caprio picked up a document. Actually, Mrs. Pierce, your driving record shows 3 speeding tickets in the past 5 years. All of them were reduced or dismissed. I'm guessing your husband's connections played a role in those outcomes." Alexandria said nothing, but her silence was answer enough. "The standard fine for your violations is $3,400, Judge Caprio continued. "But given your threats to Officer Martinez, your attempt to pressure this court, and your complete lack of remorse, I'm imposing additional penalties. You can't. First, the fine stands at $3,400. Second, your driver's license is suspended for 60 days. No exceptions, no restricted license. Third, you will complete 80 hours of community service with the Providence Department of Public Works. You'll work on road maintenance crews, filling potholes, painting lane markers, and maintaining the very roads you drove so recklessly on." Alexandria's mouth fell open. "Road maintenance? You want me working with road crews? That's manual labor. I'm not—" "You're not what, Mrs. Pierce? Above manual labor? The people who maintain our roads do honest, important work. You'll spend 80 hours learning to respect both them and the roads they maintain." "This is absurd. Marcus, tell him this is absurd." Her attorney looked defeated. "Your Honor, we'd like to request. Request denied. Furthermore, Mrs. Pierce, your threat to have Officer Martinez directing traffic in the worst neighborhood reveals disturbing attitudes about both police work and certain communities. As part of your sentence, you'll attend a community relations workshop focused on privilege and public service." Alexandria's voice rose to a shout. "I'm not attending some workshop. Do you know who you're talking to? My husband graduated Harvard Law. We have a $2 million home in the East Side. We donate to museums and charities. You can't treat me like some common criminal." "Mrs. Pierce, I'm treating you exactly like anyone else who drives recklessly, threatens police officers, and attempts to leverage connections to avoid consequences. Your home value and your donations don't exempt you from the law. Call my husband's lawyer. I want to speak to my husband's lawyer right now. Your attorney is standing right next to you. If you want to call your husband, you can do so after court is adjourned. But my ruling stands." Alexandria was shaking with rage now. "You'll regret this. My husband has argued cases before judges who make you look like—" Judge Caprio's voice cut through like ice. "Careful, Mrs. Pierce. You're very close to contempt of court charges. I'd suggest you stop talking." She glared at him, breathing hard, but finally fell silent. "You have 14 days to report to the Department of Public Works and begin your community service. Your license suspension begins immediately. Court is adjourned." The gavel came down with finality. As Alexandria stormed toward the exit, Officer Martinez stood near the door. She tried to walk past without acknowledging him, but he spoke quietly. "Mrs. Pierce, I hope you'll drive more carefully in the future. That truck you nearly hit. The driver was a father of 3 on his way home from work. He could have died because you were in a hurry." Alexandria didn't respond. She burst through the doors, already dialing her phone. But something unexpected happened over the next 2 months. On her first day with the road crew, Alexandria showed up in expensive workout clothes, clearly expecting light work. The crew supervisor, a weathered 55-year-old named Tom Rodriguez, handed her a bright orange vest, work gloves, and a shovel. "We're filling potholes on Branch Avenue today. Let's go." "I don't think you understand who I am." "My husband? I know who your husband is. And I know Judge Caprio's order says you work 80 hours on my crew. So you can talk, or you can work. Your choice." That first day was brutal. Alexandria shoveled hot asphalt in the October heat, filled potholes that had damaged countless cars, and worked alongside people who did this job every day for modest wages. Her designer workout clothes were ruined, her manicured nails were broken, and everywhere she went, people recognized her. Some mocked her, some took photos, some just stared. By week 2, Alexandria stopped wearing expensive clothes to work. She started arriving in jeans and actual work boots. She stopped complaining, and slowly, grudgingly, she started listening to her crew members' stories. She met Carlos, who'd worked road maintenance for 20 years to support his family. She met Jennifer, a single mother who did this job plus a night shift at a warehouse. She met Marcus, who'd served 2 tours in Iraq and came home to find this was the best job he could get. One morning, while painting lane markers on a busy street, a Mercedes nearly hit the work zone, the driver speeding and not paying attention, just like Alexandria had been. Carlos pulled her back just in time. "You okay?" he asked. Alexandria was shaking. "That car almost. If you hadn't." "Yeah, happens more than you'd think. People don't respect road workers. They think we're just in their way." For the first time, Alexandria understood. She'd been that driver, speeding, impatient, treating road workers as obstacles rather than human beings doing dangerous work. At week 5, something shifted. Alexandria started arriving early. She asked questions, not with arrogance, but genuine curiosity. She learned about road construction, about why certain repairs took time, about the budget constraints that left potholes unfilled for months. She started seeing the city differently. When she completed her 80 hours, Tom Rodriguez shook her hand. "You did good work, Mrs. Pierce. You complained less than most people I get from court-ordered service." "Thank you for treating me fairly. I didn't make it easy." "No, you didn't. But you learned. That's what matters." 3 months after her court date, Alexandria did something surprising. She called Judge Caprio's office and requested a meeting. On a quiet Tuesday afternoon, she sat in his chambers. "Your Honor, I wanted to thank you. When I stood in your courtroom, I was angry, entitled, and dangerous. I thought my husband's success made me special. You showed me I was wrong." Judge Caprio smiled gently. "Mrs. Pierce, I've heard you continued volunteering with the road crew after completing your hours." "I did. Tom Rodriguez taught me more in 2 months than I'd learned in years. Those crews do vital work, and they're underpaid and underappreciated. I'm working with my husband's firm now to provide pro bono legal services for the Public Works Union. It's the least I can do." "That's commendable. And you're driving?" "I haven't gone over the speed limit since. I leave early for appointments. And I never, ever pass on double yellow lines." She paused. "Your Honor, I tried to use my husband's influence to intimidate you. I'm ashamed of that." James was mortified when he found out. He made it very clear that his professional reputation is his own, not a shield for me to hide behind. "How did your husband react to the sentence?" Alexandria smiled ruefully. "He said it was the fairest thing that could have happened to me. He was angry. At me, not at you. He said I'd embarrassed him professionally and personally. We had some hard conversations, but they were necessary conversations." 6 months later, Alexandria was a different person. She'd traded her Mercedes for a practical Honda. She volunteered with road crews once a month, and she'd started an advocacy group for road worker safety, using her connections, properly this time, to push for better equipment and higher wages. The story went viral when a local reporter spotted her filling potholes voluntarily 6 months after her sentence ended. The headline, "From Entitled Driver to Road Crew Advocate: One Woman's Journey Through Justice." Alexandria gave interviews about her transformation, never shying away from her mistakes. "I was arrogant and dangerous. Judge Caprio could have just taken my money and moved on. Instead, he made me work alongside the people I'd disrespected. That changed everything." Officer Martinez eventually met Alexandria at a community safety event. She apologized directly, without lawyers or scripts. "I threatened your career because you did your job. That was wrong. I'm sorry." He accepted her apology. "Mrs. Pierce, you're not the same person I pulled over. That's what matters." If this story touched your heart, if you believe judges like Frank Caprio represent the best of our justice system, please support our new channel by subscribing and liking this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear that justice and compassion can coexist. Comment below with your city. Let's build a community that believes in fairness for all. 2 years later, Alexandria Pierce was known less as James Pierce's wife and more as an advocate for workers' rights and road safety. She'd used her platform and connections, now for good, to secure funding for road crew safety equipment and higher wages. The Public Works Department named their annual safety award after her. Judge Caprio kept a photo on his desk. Alexandria, in her orange vest, covered in asphalt dust, smiling genuinely while working alongside her road crew. It was proof that sometimes the people who resist accountability most strongly are the ones who need it most desperately. The lesson echoed far beyond Providence, that privilege isn't a shield from consequences, the connections don't purchase immunity, and that the courtroom truly is the great equalizer, where what matters isn't who your spouse is or what you own, but who you are and what you choose to become. Alexandria walked into that courtroom believing her husband's name protected her. She walked out understanding that real respect comes not from borrowed power, but from humility, service, and the willingness to learn from the very people you once looked down upon. That's not just justice, that's transformation.